Again, we're doing health vocabulary. This is lesson number 18. If you want to find lessons 1 to 17, you'll need to go to my website, which is skype-lessons.com, and you'll find all of these classes on a page called vocabulary, which you'll see at the top if you click on a link called live classes. Yeah, so that's the link you need to go to see the other classes. And all of those classes do have exercises. They have all of the information that we've been going through, all the texts and all the exercises. So please go there if you want to test your understanding on this course, and if you want to check how much you've remembered. Of course, we've got to repeat these units of vocabulary in order to commit them to memory. Okay, let's start with a stroke today. Not very nice topic, health, in the sense that we had a heart attack and sporting injuries before. Well, now we've got a stroke. We also had a little story about me being bitten by a tick. So let's have a look at a stroke. There are several telltale signs of a stroke. A stroke is caused by a restriction of the brain's blood supply, which can be caused by a blood vessel bursting or a blood clot. Having high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or diabetes increases the risk of a stroke. The telltale symptoms include a drooping smile, a weakness in one arm, and slurred speech. Okay, I better go through some of these words, guys. So a stroke is when one part of the brain, I'm describing it here, of course, but it's when one half of the brain stops functioning due to a restriction of the blood. Okay, and it happens in a lot of older people, and it's very sad because their mind isn't always the same after a stroke. It can have a lot of effects on the brain and its function. I remember, sadly, my grandfather had a stroke, and I remember that he suffered from dementia afterwards. It wasn't quite the same again. So a stroke is that when half of the brain stops working. And blood vessel bursting, well, if you burst a blood vessel, then the blood vessel ruptures and blood starts pouring out of the vessel. And a blood clot, well, we've spoken about these quite a lot recently. So high blood pressure, you should all be aware of blood pressure. You get high blood pressure or low blood pressure, depending on how fast or slow your heart is pumping. High cholesterol, this is something that's connected to diet. Yeah, if you eat a lot of, I think it's a lot of red meat, you get high cholesterol, I think, but I'm not sure, being honest, because I happen to think that meat is very healthy. I'm very much a meat eater. And diabetes, well, that's the problem that people have where they don't produce enough insulin, and they often have to inject insulin, for example, to make up for their lack of insulin. And so it's a problem with sugar blood levels, diabetes. Blood sugar levels. So a drooping smile, this is a smile which droops down on one side, and it's one way you can tell somebody's had a stroke. Half of their face isn't quite being controlled because half the brain has stopped working. I think half the face, the motor skills of the face are lost. A weakness in one arm, again, it's one side of the body that's affected because half the brain is affected. And slurred speech. Slurred speech is associated with being drunk, usually, when you go, when you start slurring your words, you don't pronounce them properly or clearly. So only 1 in 6 strokes are fatal. So most people who suffer a stroke will pull through in the following months. So there's a little bit of optimism at the end of the stroke. Only 1 in 6 strokes are fatal. There we go. That's good news. Most people who suffer a stroke will pull through. So remember, you suffer a stroke or you suffer a heart attack, and you have a stroke and you have a heart attack. So remember, they're the verbs you need to use with these nouns. And to pull through, to come through, means to completely recover. If you pull through, you completely recover. So this is an excellent phrasal verb for health. Yeah, to pull through. And I tell you every time when I start talking about phrasal verbs, there is a book for phrasal verbs that I recommend. This one, Visual Phrasal Verbs. Good book for phrasal verbs. Do consider buying it. You can buy it on my website or you can buy it on Amazon. So pull through is certainly in that phrasal verbs book, as is come through, which is very similar. Okay, that's the wrong document. Where's my document? There it is, a stroke. So let's go on to a lump. So this is another personal story by the looks of it. There might be some fibbing in it. It might not all be true, but let's read it. It was after New Year that I discovered, upon glancing in the mirror, that a large lump had sprouted up under my jaw. Okay, a large lump is a bump in the skin. It's full of something, and so nobody likes to find a lump. Lumps are very often associated with cancerous tumours, and so nobody likes to find a lump. But it might not be a cancerous tumour, a lump. A lump can be anything. It's just a bump in the skin, and so what causes that lump could be anything. And a large lump had sprouted up under my jaw, yeah, on the left-hand side here, the submandibular gland, I believe. I noticed that the lump swelled up whenever I was wolfing down my food. Okay, remember, swell up means get bigger. Yeah, so the lump got bigger whenever I was wolfing down my food. So I have a tendency to eat very quickly, and I wolf down my food, especially if it's tasty. And whenever I was about to eat, I noticed it swelled up. Just as I got hungry and I started salivating, it swelled up. And I noticed the swelling went down again. So swellings go down or go up. Yeah, they get bigger or they get smaller. They swell up or the swelling goes down after I had gobbled everything up. So to gobble everything up, to eat everything up. Taking one look at me, a friend of mine who worked in medicine, this was one of my students actually, told me exactly what was wrong and exactly what I had to do. You see, this is the joy of having clever students. Firstly, the problem stemmed from, resulted from. That's all that means. Stemmed from, resulted from a small stone that had formed inside my saliva gland. Yeah, just under here, this little tiny stone. And this little tiny stone had blocked up this gland. So blocked up means liquid can't flow through something. You can talk about your drains being blocked up, and you need a plumber if your drains are blocked up. But you can talk about your nose being blocked up, and then you need a hanky, yeah, to blow your nose. But yeah, the stone had blocked up this gland. So when I got hungry and produced more saliva, the lump would swell up with blocked saliva. It was saliva, it was spit that was swelling this huge lump. It was big. The swelling went down after eating because then I was not producing saliva. In order to treat the lump, my student recommended that I suck on a sweetie. Yeah, and so I bought some lemon sherbets, which I hadn't eaten for years and years and years, this old sweet, because I just don't usually eat sweets. And Angela explained, that sometimes patients could suck the stone out of the saliva gland, yeah, by sucking on the sweet. You produce a lot of saliva, because when you suck on a sweet, you do salivate, and it pushes the stone out of the duct. So I'm glad to say that her advice was sound. Yeah? If somebody gives you sound advice, sound has a second meaning, which means good. If somebody is of sound mind, they have a good mind, they are sane. And if somebody's advice is sound, it means it's good advice, okay? Her advice was good, it was sound, and I had made a full recovery within 24 hours. Okay, so you make a full recovery, you completely get over something, totally recover, pull through. Okay, so I'm going to put these two exercises, which you can see here on my website, underneath these things that I've just read aloud, underneath these paragraphs. Yeah, I'm going to put it all up on my website, and all you guys need to do if you want to practice the vocabulary that we have just studied, you need to go to skype-lessons.com vocabulary. You can see the link over there or over there. Not sure, maybe over there. Yeah, you can see the link. Oh, maybe I haven't put the chat overlay on. Let's put the chat overlay on. Will that make any difference? No. Still getting used to all of this technology, guys, but I am getting better every day. So please head to my website if you want more practice. Maybe I'll make another lesson later today if I get time. And maybe it'll be another vocabulary one, or maybe something else. I might surprise you. But yeah, watch this space. So thanks everybody for coming, and see you all soon.